This Halloween's video was no question what it was going to be. After I seen the new trailer for The Evil Dead, it had to be that. Now, you know my thoughts on Evil Dead. It's one of my favourite horror movies of all time. I was a bit not too sure about the remake, but when I seen the trailer, it reassured me. They knew the fans wanted it to make sure it was right, and it stuck to the true format Evil Dead, even though it's going to be a remake. And I've got to say, it looks one of the best remakes a horror movie can get. Now, the whole reason for this video is it's obviously about games, so let's move on. So being a young fan of Evil Dead, when you hear they're going to get a game, I was over the moon. Then you get landed with this. Evil Dead Hail to the King. When I was young, it looked amazing, and when I played it making this video, you forget how bad it really is. Now, you've got to remember the PlayStation 1 had its limitations, but it felt like they were doing the Resident Evil style. The camera works the exact same. The only good thing was they did stick kinda really close to the story. You can tell it was true fans it was making this game, and being in the cabin and things like that made it special. The combat broke the game down. Now, like I said, it felt like Resident Evil, but when you done the combat, to make things even harder, the Deadites disappeared under the ground, or they jump away, and your attack range is limited. Then on top of that, the one thing you really want to do in an Evil Dead game is the fact that Ash has got a chainsaw for a hand, and you want to chop everybody up. In this, they try to make it like true survival horror, and it runs on fuel. So you've got to find fuel all the time to make sure your chainsaw is running. If not, then you can do an attack with your chainsaw, but it takes less damage. So this was one of the ones where you needed a cheat cartridge just to finish the game. I have finished the game. It goes back in time, all that stuff, likes of Army of Darkness. It did suck. I was quite disappointed in it. So when the PlayStation 2 came along, a couple of years after it, Evil Dead Fistful of Boomstick came out. Now when I first played this was the exact same. This is amazing. Finally they fixed it, chainsaw, doesn't run on fuel, but it is the most repetitive game I have ever played. Now, you're in Dearborn, which is the town the Evil Dead's set in, and the first thing I noticed was how many strip clubs has this place got. This place is surrounded by them. But let's talk about the gameplay. Normal button mashing, but at least they got it right when it comes to controls. The only thing that does annoy me is the fact that the camera, when you move the right stick, jumps all over the place. It's very sensitive, but like I said, the game is so repetitive you get bored really quick. They do break it up with you going in a museum, a castle, stuff like that, but basically you go through time and you're still in Dearborn, so it's just a different version of the town you're in, from normal day to apocalyptic to back in like sort of the American Civil War, stuff like that. It really didn't break it up as much as I thought it would have. You do get cool weapons for Ash. Like I said, that was one of the things in the first game. It did annoy me, it was like the chainsaw had to run in petrol. This, it doesn't. But you can get a Gatling gun for him, a flamethrower. So it did mix it up a wee bit. But you know what you're going to do. You'll be the same as me, you stick to the chainsaw. That's the whole point of Ash. So when you compare it to the first game to this, if the first game had the controls of this one, apart from that camera, but set in the original game, you'd be happy. So finally, when it come to Evil Dead Regeneration, they got it right. Now, I've only played a small bit of this game, and for what I've played, it is fantastic. If you're an Evil Dead fan, this is the game you need. The controls from the second game is here, but look where you start instantly. And they capture everything of Evil Dead 2, which to an Evil Dead fan is the holy grail. I still think Evil Dead 2 is the best one. People say Army of Darkness, but Evil Dead 2 for me is the cult Evil Dead movie, purely because how Ash becomes much of the stronger character in it, and this game captures it perfectly right at the start. Like I said, I haven't played a lot more in it, but I do know Ted Raimi is a character in it, and he's one of like a half deadite creature person. So he helps you along the way, and you can actually go him. I have seen that. After all this is really the game for an Evil Dead fan. When you think of the lackluster one you got for the PlayStation 1, when you see in this day and age it is very outdated, and the complete boredom you get with the second gen after you realise it's the same thing over and over and over again. This is the way the Evil Dead game should have been, except like I said, they went for the first one, survival horror, Resident Evil style. Yeah, it worked in the sense back in the time, but when you play it in this day and age, no. So that is us. This is a Halloween video for 2012. Hope you're going to see the new Evil Dead movie next year, and I'm looking forward to myself. So always remember, hail to the king.
You know, 10 to 1 says that hurt.